Hello, my name's Nelsonator,
And I'm Parish Torch.
and this is Let's Play Mega Man Battle Network 6 Cybeast Gregar bonus episode. Behold, the Legacy Collection is upon us, and it did something I wasn't sure it was going to do. It restored the Japanese content, the crossover Boktai stuff, and areas that were cut out of the English release in the game. I was very excited when I got the news. I went straight to Battle Network 6 to see it, and I've recorded some footage here to show everybody what's going on. So, Parish, how much do you know about, like, the changes in localization from Japanese to English for the Battle Network games?
I think the main things I was aware of were the changes to Navi names, and the fact that the codes for some of the Navi chips did not match their English names whatsoever, and options that did match were perfectly available. Like, for example, Spoutman being in the A code when they could have easily just made him an S code. That's because the original name was Aquaman, for example.
Yep.
But aside from things like that, and knowing that there was some sort of tie-in with the Boktai games, I don't know too much of the specifics of what was lost.
Okay, so with the names there, I actually want to put a pin on that, because some of the name changes were reverted, but then other names were changed, and some names still remain as they were. So, in Battle Network 6, Spoutman went back to Aquaman. That makes sense, right? Another guy in Battle Network 3 had his name changed yet again. In the original Mega Man series, like where you do the jumping and the shooting on the NES, he was named Yamato Man. When he was brought into Mega Man Battle Network 3, in Japan, he was Yamato Man. In English, he was changed to Japanman. He still kept Y for his code. His name changed yet again for this Legacy Collection release. What do you think it changed to?
I sure hope it's back to Yamato Man.
Samurai Man, baby! And Killer Man is still a race man. But, yeah. So we're here in the Immortal area to show off, like, one of the places that was cut from the English release, including this guy. Get a load of his mugshot here. His smile is so big it goes through his beard. So yeah, the Count is here. You could get the strongest version of his Navi chip in the Game Boy Advance English release through gold mystery data in the graveyard area. And he was named Hackjack for some reason. Presumably because they translated Haku Shaku. Do you know what that means? I don't.
No, I can't say I do.
Okay. But yeah, one of the interesting choices they sort of made here is they implemented a bit of a story here with the Count and the similar, like, this isn't the first time Mega Man Battle Network has sort of done an unwinnable fight that you just kind of fight out for a bit until things happen. But this is one that sort of showed up and took me by surprise as I'm hitting him, and I'm like, what's going on? Why can't I do anything? Oh, they probably just sort of intend for me to, like, putz around for a bit, huh? Unfortunately, he can't break my life aura that I've got going on here, so he's just kind of, we're just flailing at each other, not doing anything. Kind of pulls the tension out of the situation, you know?
Well, obviously, you need to unleash the power of the sun.
Yeah, clearly. So, how are we going to do that is the big question. Obviously, Django's going to show up. And one of the things that sort of got me as I was, playing the game... Like, I like that they're doing cutscenes within the battle engine. Maybe if the franchise had gone on a little bit longer, they would have been able to do that in future games. Because it sort of adds a sense of drama, you know? It's kind of cool. But, nah. This was the last game, so they never got another chance to do it. Oops.
Also, Django just shows up on a motorcycle.
Yep, he just has a motorcycle now.
Yeah.
But the other problem is that Otenko got locked away somewhere. And one of the funniest things to me is when I was just sort of playing through this game, like, I had just recently LP'd this game, right? I recognized a lot of stuff. I get to Undernet 0. before you get access to the underground and you could access the immortal area, and I'm wandering around, and then Otenko's just standing there, locked behind a gate, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. I wonder what he's doing here. Probably has to relate to the crossover content, I guess. But, like, this was the second time I'd seen Otenko, because he stands over, like, a crossover trader, where you build up crossover points by playing mini-games, like, connecting the Boktai game and the Mega Man game, so that you can, like, trade for chips, including special ones that are only available inside this trader, and they restored it. But, like, you can't do the regular crossover event, so instead, I think you're stuck, like, doing PvP battles online. I think that's how they implemented it. It's a weird inclusion, but, yeah, it's still there. But it was just weird to me to see Otenko once and then be like, okay, cool, but now he's locked behind a gate somewhere else? What is going on here?
Also, I remember bumping into Django as part of the bit of crossover content in one of the previous games, possibly
Four.
Excuse me.
4 was the first game they started doing the crossover content, and in that game, he was around to help you beat, like, Shade Man in the Undernet. And there was a little bit of a side quest to run around and get it, and then once you beat Shade Man, you got the Nebula ID to unlock locked doors on the internet.
But even though you helped him out there, or he helped you out, it didn't sound like they developed a real strong friendship.
Yep.
I was going to ask if there was any further development to their interaction in the 5th game in the series.
I think there might have been a similar crossover event. I haven't sat down and played through it in the Legacy Collection. I haven't had, like, the desire to do it, per se, because I went straight to 6 and was like, this is the best stuff ever, I gotta show it to my best friend ever. And then, like, I went back and started playing Battle Network 1. By the way, check this out. They had maps included in the base game itself. But the problem with a lot of the maps is, like, you have to walk pretty deep into the area to see the map in the first place. Anyway, here we are in Undernet Zero. Behold Otenko's mugshot, where he's, like, doing the DreamWorks single-cocked eyebrow face at you.
Django is the new DreamWorks movie coming out.
Oh, wait, yeah, there was a movie called Django or whatever, like Django Unchained or something like that, where, like, a lizard is going around as, like, a sheriff in a western or something like that.
You're thinking of Rango.
Oh!
Rango is the movie with the cartoon lizard. Django is the movie with a bunch of, like, prominent actors. World.
Oops. Oops! Yeah, but just considering some of the stuff that happened in real life since Battle Network 6 was made, like, I'm a little bit surprised that they restored the Boktai content and the Django content instead of, like, retranslating the English version of the game back into Japanese and releasing that with everything else excised. It's...
Yeah,
like...
Yeah, I could definitely see them being petty enough to just try and further snub any references to Kojima.
Yeah, because, like, he shows up, and I'm gonna put air quotes on this, in person in Battle Network 4. You can talk to him. Like, it's just so strange that they would then be like, oh no, fuck this guy, we gotta get him out of here. Yeah, but the, it's interesting to see the Immortal area after just sort of hearing about it for a while. One of the really interesting things about it is they redistributed the virus encounters to other parts in the game, and this really affects the virus battler, because they took out, like, since they removed the Immortal area here, there were some viruses here and in, like, another area we're gonna see in a bit called Graveyard 1. They took them and moved them elsewhere in the game so that you could get them and still do the virus battler without having access to the locked off areas here. They moved the Haunted Candle, the Earth Dragon, and the Snake Arm. Well, the Snake Arm wasn't technically moved because it's still in Graveyard 2, which was the only graveyard in the Battle Network game, but due to circumstances we're going to see later, the Snake Arm is not accessible by the time you have to sit down and actually run through the Virus Battler minigame. So, why did they do that? Anyway, they're gonna use the power of the sun, and then we're gonna beat the Count.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very self-explanatory, right?
I do like the fact that they kind of narratively tie in how the crossover works in that, hey, we don't have enough solar energy to outright defeat him, but we have just enough to weaken him so that it's possible for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice way to kind of justify you getting involved in this storyline.
I wonder if for Boktai 3, like on the other side of this, oh yeah, good job me, let's just whiff Rotoman. There's not enough sunlight wherever you are, and Mega Man's just like, oh yeah, I'll just have Land stand outside and like send sunlight through the internet through dimensions to you so that you can beat the Count.
Hooray!
God, that would be incredible. I would love that so much. Also, I just noticed that Hyper Burst doesn't get a damage bonus from going into Beast Cross, which I would have... Huh. That was the entire reason why I pressed Falzer Beast out there, so I could get a bonus to that.
Nah.
Nah. So yeah, we're back to another in-engine cutscene, and I am here for it. I think it's pretty cool.
Charge up. Good to know that you can charge the whatever
The Gundam
solar
Soul,
weapon.
yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah, and the other thing I like about it is that they, there's two versions of the Gundam Soul. One where it's like the weak version when you're not in sunlight, and the strong version when you're in sunlight. They gave them the weak version there, because we're still standing around, like, in the deepest darkness of the internet. So, they at least remembered that part of the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And since we are, like, a piece of children's media, we have to separate the crossover. Don't worry, we shall meet again.
Oh.
No, we won't. The sun will rise tomorrow. I guess that's a better, thing to end this whole thing on. Like, yeah, here's a message of hope for the future. The bad guy was defeated, everyone went home safe, everything's great. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Something about, I think the color of Django's shoes kind of matches the platform behind him. So at some point it looked like he had tiny little stick legs.
Well, yes, he has tiny little stick legs. Like, the artistic style of him on the world map in, like, his games also gives him those tiny little stick legs. So, it's a stylistic thing going on, in addition to his feet are sort of blending in a little bit. It was easier to tell in Battle Network 4, because, like, he's standing on a red platform with his skinny little pale legs, his tiny little black boots. But here, in sort of the dark, muted colors of the Immortal area, a little harder to tell.
Yeah. I do think it's odd that just from a random virus battle, you found another Gundam Soul chip.
In the Battle Mystery data there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling they put that there, expecting you, like, yeah, this is the entire crossover event. It's the entire point of this area. Let's throw it in there. At least I do that. So yeah, the Immortal area here had some of its contents redistributed into other parts of the game. They had to move around a whole bunch of rewards to be able to, like, accommodate cutting this entire area out. The Count will show up here as, like, the Navi Ghost and then the random encounter, once you jack out and come back in. So this area will eventually serve as your location to, like, grind out the SP Navi chips against him. But my opinion so far of the Boktai crossover content, thumbs up. I like it a lot. I'm glad this area is here. I'm glad we can run around and see a bunch of other cool stuff. And I was happy to do it. But there's another thing that they added in here in place of, like, that would have been the graveyard in original English version. Now we're here in Undernet 3. And now the monkey's paw curls when I said I wanted to see this content again, because I do not like Undernet 3 and Graveyard 1 all that much at all. Undernet 3 has a gimmick of, like, invisible paths, so you have to just sort of rub your face against any, like, edge of a platform to see if you can advance anywhere special in there. And they've got a lot of just sort of hidden stuff all around the side. There are no, like, virus battle or viruses to find here. it's just run through this area, and it feels like the encounter rate is jacked up compared to the regular game. And then you run into these guys. They drop Golem Hit 2 as their battle chip. They take half damage from everything that isn't breaking, and they just slow the pace of battle down so much. It's painful.
Careful what you wish for.
Careful. I should have been very careful what I wished for when the monkey paw curled. So, the thing that comes after Undernet 2 here is Undernet 3, which then requires you to beat the final boss before you can go down into Graveyard 1. Graveyard 1 has both of these areas feel like they've been designed to just suck away as much time from you as possible as you run back through them. Like, they're hitting the end of all the content that exists, and some designer sort of like looked at his spreadsheet and said, we gotta extend playtime as much as we can. We gotta make it as much of a pain in the ass as possible to get through these areas. What do we do? And one guy was like, invisible pathways, and then the longest path we can cram into a tiny area. It'll be great. It'll be great. Also, I can't tell if the vacuum's still going in the background for you or not, if I'm leaving you a break to talk.
Possibly over.
Yeah. So, what this place really does do, though, is it sort of allows you to see some of the other viruses that you haven't had much time to kind of look at, that were redistributed into other areas as rare encounters to replace the fact that they were here instead. So I got to see so much more corn compared to the regular version of the game here. Yeah, by the way, look at this map. Is this helpful? No, because it doesn't show you, like, any of the areas you can run around to. Ugh.
I can't believe you thought there would actually be a path on that very obvious, leading you on destination.
I know, right? It's just like, oh, I could probably run here, right? And, like, part of the thing about this, too, is as I'm playing this game, I'm trying to show it well, but I'm also showing, like, my first sort of experience with this area. And one of the things I sort of realized on a test recording was, holy crap, I need a map for this. So as I'm recording this, I have a map, like, on the corner of the screen next to me as I'm recording here, and then I'm looking back at it, I'm looking forth, and I'm just like, wait a minute, is this right? Is this not right? And I'm just showing off everywhere I can kind of go in here, and I'm like, man, I hate this! But
yeah.
While we're here, I guess I might as well explain some of the other pack-ins with the Legacy Collection that I think are pretty good. They added in all of the patch cards. I think originally, I didn't Google this, but considering the fact they're named cards, it probably has to deal with the e-reader peripheral. So you'd scan a card on the e-reader and connect to your like regular game as you were doing things, and then, wow, check this out, you got a reward. Some of these rewards are permanent buffs to Mega Man, and there's a whole system of, like, they take up memory space, so you have to choose which ones you've got on and turned off or whatever, and I immediately went to, like, the most powerful one and slapped on Mr. Famous, which gives Custom 3, Mega Folder 2, I think? Giga Folder +1, and then you just start a battle with a Life Aura, which means you have to take 200 damage before you start taking damage. You are invincible to everything that isn't a super boss like Base. And, once again, you can just have this from the start of the game! But considering this is, like, Legacy Collection stuff here, people who are playing this collection have likely already played the game in the past. It kind of is a good way for them to just kind of curb stomp the game like they kind of remembered, where they'd remember being at the end of their journey, they were super powerful, and then just sort of breeze through it. Now you get to experience that again, but from the start of the game. One of the other things they have in the patch cards is, like, rewards that they sort of give you. Like, you can scan a card and it's suddenly like, hey, I have, like, all 3 of Proto Man's Navi chips. here at the start of the game. I have, like, $30,000 immediately. I have a big pile of bug frags. It's all pretty great, isn't it? The bug frags did not help when I had to sit down and, like, grind out bug frags for later. So, thanks, I guess?
Was the whole point of going to that section just so you get that email with Meteor Knuckle?
That is Graveyard 1. I think what ended up happening is I forgot to go to some place as I was wandering around, and then I realized, aw, dang, I missed that one platform because I couldn't see the path out to it. Hold on, now I gotta run all the way back. A competent gamer would have maybe cut that out, but at the same time, I'm showing you my initial response to going through this area and seeing all of it for myself, and I was like, wait a minute, I missed something? Damn it!
Yeah.
I thought I had it. I thought I saw it good.
I mean, yeah, not to mention, like, the base content of Mega Man Battle Network 6 that we've had access to and been playing for years compared to content that is, to us, brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good indicator of just how lost everyone usually gets wandering around through the net, even when you can see the roads.
Yeah. Even when I know exactly where I was... God. The one that always gives me the trouble going back to is Battle Network 1, just because, like, every area of the internet looks entirely the same. Like, there's no different tile sets to, like, show... Yeah, speed +1 Navi Customizer part, big whoop. There's no way to tell if you're in the undernet or, like, the regular net. There's no way to tell, like, what country or what area you're in. It all just kind of looks the same. And that area, the internet in Battle Network 1, has, like, 3 kind of forks that lead off into the dark corners of the internet. And one of the weird things about 1 that none of the other games would bring back is from the moment you get access to, like, the Den City internet, you can walk all the way to, like, the deepest part of the internet where you'll have, like, your grudge match with base after you've collected just about every chip. But for, like, the start of the game, you can wander down there at, like, 200 HP and be like, yup, everything outclasses me, but I'm sure here. One of the other nice things the Legacy Collection does to help you get through things is they have a mode called Buster Max mode. It multiplies the damage of your regular Buster Shot by 100 times. I never demonstrate this in my recorded footage here, but as you can imagine, you just take apart Mega Man Battle Network 1 by just pressing the B button repeatedly in a regular thing, and now you deal an extra 100 damage as you're doing it. It's a bit much!
Yeah, I can imagine even just a couple of upgrades immediately overblowing any damage that you could do with chips.
Yeah, the moment you hit, like, Buster Power 5, you were doing 500 damage in a single shot. Like, some bosses can survive that. I 3-shot the final boss of Battle Network 1 because I'm like, I'm gonna turn this on and see what happens. Bang! 1 shot to remove the shield. Bang! A 2nd shot to hurt him. Bang! A 3rd shot to kill him dead. And I'm like, yep, that sure was the final boss. But
we're just speedrunning the final boss here.
Yeah, no joke, I think the speedrun Discord actually held, like, a stream event for, hey, let's race beating Battle Network 1 with the Buster Max mode on and see how it goes. So, we're not the only ones to think of that. One of the... So, like, imagine playing Battle Network 6 here, but you've got, like... I don't know if it actually stacks like this, but the Gregar Rapid Fire Vulcan Buster, and you just hold down the button and fire the gun a billion times while you do, like, 100 damage or 500 damage per shot. Oh, man, that would be so incredible. But I really like 6, and I know how to play it extremely well compared to some of the other games, so I never really turned it on unless I whiffed on getting out of a battle. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll use it now, because I got locked into an SP Navi fight, and I am not ready for it. But otherwise, I was just like, yeah, forget it, I'll just play the game normally. But it really helps for, like, Battle Network 1, because the chips are just garbage in that game. It helps to be able to just end any fight quickly and just get a 9 rank.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. Like, bosses in Battle Network 1, I completely forgot that, like, wandering Navi ghosts on the internet, like their highest tier forms, they only have a 50% chance to drop a battle chip anytime you fight them. And there's no way to guarantee a Navi chip drop. So I'm stuck rolling the dice 50-50, like, whenever I need to get a version 3 chip out of them, and then figuring out how to fight them to get, like, rank 9 or rank 8 so I can get the level 2 chip, on top of, like, the chances to get any other different chip, on top of the 50% chance of just getting money. It sucks!
Do they have lock enemy in that game?
No!
Oof.
There's no sub-chips in Battle Network 1. So you just run around for 10 more minutes until you find a Lekman again, and it's like, hey buddy, I'm here to kick your butt. I'm here to kick your butt.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, the hell I'm currently stuck on. I need to find Bomb Man, Magic Man, Pharaoh Man, and Shadow Man, and get all of their Navi chips, which is a bit much, but, you know, this is what I signed up for buying the Legacy Collection. And, like, to sort of talk about other things in the Legacy Collection, there are achievements, and the achievements in the games are, like, not pitched for the full complete that I did for Battle Network 6 or for, like, the LP. In Battle Network 6, like, the hardest one of them to get probably is, like, beating the final boss, and the rest of them are like, yeah, you know, engage with this minigame here, get all the cross fusions and use them once in battle. It's a lot of that kind of standard stuff. And then you go back to Battle Network 1, and they're like, oh, there's, like, nothing to do in this game. So any incidental quest, we're going to turn that into a Chivo. I think maybe, like, doing all of the trades is a Chivo. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the one that sort of stuck with me, Battle Network 1 is the only game that wants you to, like, 100% it for a Chivo. And that requires, like, engaging deeply with the mechanics, and all that requires, basically, is getting all of the battle chips. Which is, like, compared to the effort they're asking for any of the rest of the games, that's about the same amount of effort. Which is weird. Just...
Yeah, I do think it's interesting, like, for any game in general that has objectives or achievements, where they decide to place those, because too many of them err on the side of too easy. Just anything that the player does, might as well have an achievement for that.
Yep. Dark Souls 2, you died. Here's a Chivo.
Yeah. Yeah, not dying is the ongoing achievement in any Souls game, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you have games that take it way too far, and, you know, they give you the only achievements they have are for expert, you know, god tier gamers, and, you know, 90% of the people are only going to get the ones for complete the game on normal difficulty, and all of the others are, you know, forever lost to them, kind of thing.
Yeah. One other thing to cut in with real quick here. That guy, the merchant, in the English version, he gets moved to Graveyard 2, or the only graveyard, and then you just buy from him there. There's another merchant that's only in the English game that hangs out in Undernet Zero, and he sells some of the chips, I think, that are, like, part of Blue Mystery Data in the Japanese version and the Legacy Collection version here. So it's interesting how they decided, like, oh, yeah, you know, here's our solution. We'll just let you buy them with Zenny, which causes the other problem of, like, you need to get a lot more money to be able to get what you need. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, so I haven't talked much about the Graveyard one here, but there is stuff kind of going on here where you can see, like, hey, there's the tornadoes, there's the fire. There's sort of encouragement here to come back with the Link Navis, right? And I had heard, and I talked about in the LP, how there's there's a mark in this game you can get on the title screen for beating base with every Link Navi. What I didn't realize is it had to be Link Navi specifically from something called the Beast Link Gate. The Beast Link Gate was functionality where you would essentially have, like, a Tamagotchi, and you could send, like, Heatman or Aquaman or something into the Tamagotchi. They would level up, and then you could bring them back into the game, and then they would be much stronger. as you, like, went and fought viruses and such, right? So, the Beastlink Gate is not in the Legacy Collection, so that mark is completely unavailable. And there was definitely a point where I tried running back there with Aquaman, and I could not get base SP to spawn, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What's going on here? And I looked it up, and I'm like, what the fuck? Interesting. So, here's something that's really interesting to me about, like, the Legacy Collections, or the Japanese version of the game here. Now, I am gated by Mega Complete, when there is no Mega Complete door in the English version of the game. There's only a door for Standard Complete. We have not hit the door for Standard Complete, and it's already asking for Mega Complete. That seems weird and a little bit backwards to me, right?
Yeah. Unless they definitely think that it's, much easier because there's so few mega chips, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem like that's the case in these games.
There's 45 mega chips as opposed to 200 regular chips, and they gated some of those battle chips in Graveyard 2 behind Mega Complete, which, in the original Japanese version of the game and the English version of the Legacy Collection here, causes a problem with a soft lock. So, strap in, because we gotta talk about, like, some of the patch cards. Requests on the request BDS, some of them are on patch cards. In the English version of the game, they're just here out in the open. They're all included in the game, so you don't have to worry about it. In the Japanese version of the game, you gotta scan like 10 patch cards to get all the requests. One of them is the one with that asshole who requests the Poison Pharaoh Program Advance, right? So, you need to get into Graveyard 2 so you can get Anubis to make Poison Pharaoh. The problem with that is, to get Mega Complete, you need to beat Proto Man. Oh, but yeah, by the way, off screen, I went and completed Standard. I got Mega Complete, and now we're back here. But one of the problems I ran into, Proto Man only levels up as you do more requests. So if you take that request asking for Poison Pharaoh too early, you cannot level up Proto Man to get Proto Man SP, which means you cannot get Mega Complete to get into Graveyard 2, which means you can't get Anubis to make Poison Pharaoh Program Advance. So you've soft-locked yourself.
Hooray!
It's an incredible dilemma that patch cards have given to us here. Just absolutely incredible. By the way, that there was the Falzer Giga Chip, which, you can download for. It's another one of the free gimmies that they just give you, and man, it feels really great to use. Like, I can pretty routinely get 700 damage on bosses with it. But, so, there's that soft lock in place. There is a glitch associated with the English version of the Legacy Collection, where Proto Man will not level up to Proto Man SP as long as you're playing in English. You have to swap over to Japanese to get him to do it. Or at least, at the time of this recording, that is a glitch documented on the Rockman EXE Zone, which is the best wiki for this game. So, we're gonna leave it there. Another glitch associated with Battle Network 6 Legacy Collection here also has to relate to the Virus Battler. The rewards for the Virus Battler are different whether you're playing in English or in Japanese. The problem comes into play where Django 3, a mega chip required to get deeper into the game, is locked behind the Japanese language version of it. If you're playing English, you'll get Super Vulcan instead. So, you can lock yourself out of Mega Complete and completing the entire game if you fuck up and don't change your language to Japanese before you go and do the Virus Battler, which, why would you know to do that?
Yeah.
So, there's some glitches here in Battle Network 6 that I would really like to be fixed. Just put that here on the table. At least, like, you can sort of get yourself out of the patch card dilemma, because, you can use a patch card to get Proto Man SP so that you're not stuck for, like, choosing the Poison Pharaoh request too early. That's fine. That's whatever. But this one where you can't, like, get Django 3 and then complete it, that's unacceptable. That needs to change.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the monkey paw of seeing this collection for the first time in the Legacy Collection. People aren't going to understand, like, oh, I gotta flip my language into Japanese to do this little mini game, which, like, I won't be able to read anything as I'm going through the menus, and it's kind of menu intensive, so you can figure out what the heck you're doing. Not exactly fun, but they also removed, like, one of the reasons to engage deeply with this area that's newly added to it, because you can't bring your navies back here to, like, cut down all these trees and see all the stuff that's back here. Like, you can do that, but there's no reward to, like, fight base for it. There's no mark to get. So it's just like, why is this here? And it really sort of red-pilled me, like, man, we might have gotten a better version of it in the English release. So, like, my summary of all this: Immortal Area, good. Undernet 3, Graveyard 1, and the glitches, bad. Legacy Collection, fun. Go play it. Yeah, but we're running up here on 20 seconds. The last thing we're going to say for this LP. Give me some words to sign off with. Give me your words of wisdom, the best thing you can sort of muster.
Careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And sometimes it's worth the wait for people to fix mistakes.
Alright, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
See ya.